Our equipment really was only going to include some headphones, so the students are doing their, 8 to 10 minute video review that they'll hear the instructor on the video as well. And then there's a trainer course that one business teachers would have to sit through. They sort of have to take an abbreviated course. They have to pass the test too, of course, so they can be a certified trainer. So there is a small nominal fee for that as well. But we're looking to, the biggest thing is to offer our students an opportunity, if they desire, to have that certification to improve their likelihood of employment if they're not going straight to college or if they're entering the workforce or something like that. Any questions?
Mr. Dyer, I am wondering if you plan on incorporating Excel and other OneNote. They have, you're looking at 2 of about 6 of their popular
There's a
programs.
total of 9 different, including their network, cybersecurity.
Right.
There's several out there that are available. We're looking at the 2 right now just to, we found that a lot of employers through the research from Test Out and Certport's another certification program, most employers are looking for employees to be able to work with Word very well as PowerPoint. The 2 big ones they're wondering now, Excel is not far behind. So in our Computer 2 apps, number 2 class, we're looking to incorporate our database management access as well as Excel.
Oh, great. Okay, good.
But we don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Oh,
So
right.
start with the small and build it from there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any questions?
No, just 2 questions. One question, one comment.
Okay.
So first off, thank you. I think it's a great opportunity for the students. I agree with you, sure, that we should pursue the Excel application. I work for a $3 billion company, and that is the bulk of what we deal with. Word, it's kind of accepted that people are proficient with Word as it is.
Yeah.
PowerPoint and Excel, simply for the power of Excel. Excel's got incredible powers.
Sure.
Access is just another level with able to handle much more data. That's important too.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you'll have IT departments that will deal with that large volume of data. I think Excel is much more important to the student body, just for simple things. Analyzing their own data. The statistics package within Excel is phenomenal. So anyway, I appreciate that. And is the cost for the student to take the exam, what is the cost to take the exam?
To take the certification, that runs anywhere from 75 to about 115, depending where the location is they're taking it. Up in Allentown, where Mac had one of their satellite offices, kids can sit for about $80 to take the test. They go across the street to Bucks County Community College, it's $112 to take the test.
Okay.
So, but they would be fully prepared for it because the Test Out software program offers them practice tests that are very similar to the actual certification test.
But the goal would be to get them to certification, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. And that's only the first level, and Microsoft Specialist has master levels as well, that you can take your knowledge even further past that basic specialist level. So there's multiple tiers in each one of the 9 products. So there's a potential for a large growth. Obviously, it's going to be based on student enrollment, of course, it's going to drive this. If we're getting a large volume of interested students, we can adapt. I think we put in the cost there you had in front of you. We can put it in there. I did. So we would take right now we're at 2.8 teachers for the business department, so we would probably bump that to possibly 3 further discussions with Dr. Scheid and Mr. Bono, of course. So that way we would create that 0.2 extra would be for this new class that's going to run certification specialists. So that would sort of help us grow those numbers without sacrificing the personal finance class or the accounting classes, etc.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I agree with the Excel. I'm a big Excel. I love it, and the problem with the Excel sometimes is when you're teaching Excel from the basic level, you have to have a basic understanding, and to get them from point 0 to the certification level in that short period of time, sometimes is a lot. So we're hoping that they go through the Word and PowerPoint first, and then now they have a basic understanding of what is expected, how the program is going to work. Then when we put them in Excel and can access in the second phase or the second class, they'll be more apt to be successful.
Of the entire Microsoft suite, that's probably the one I use the most.
Yeah, I don't know at all.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah. Yeah, and you probably, with a company your size, you work with some who are very skilled at Excel, and there's a lot of people who.
There's people I call when I can't figure out the formula that's this long.
Absolutely. It'll be a semester course, yes. Yeah. So, yeah, 18-week course.
How many students do you have in the current course?
The current enrollment, the courses are running currently, simply because it's based on the 2007 Microsoft suite, and we're already on 2016. It's pretty outdated, so we're looking to modernize, number one, the curriculum. Mr. Ryacone and myself will be writing some curriculum over the course of this year and this summer to make it more modern. But yeah, we're using antiquated materials, so just a bit.
Then are these licensing fees
Yep.
based on the update, I mean, are these based on 2007 fees, or are
No,
they?
the licensing fees are just simply for them to access the software test.
Oh, I
now,
see, okay,
Which is 2016.
okay. Because then you're adding in the expense to update your software programs too.
No, I think already at the high school, we're already on that.
We're already
Got
there.
it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we're already there. So we're teaching them old stuff on 2007 on new equipment, so it doesn't work well.
It doesn't even remote.
That doesn't
No.
mean, yeah.
The ribbon wasn't even in there back in 2007, so it's highly overdue, so we're excited for it.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think the certification component is gonna be a huge bonus for us. It's not only as a school, but as a district. We'll be ahead of the curve. A lot of districts don't offer this certification. There's a few that do, and I'm glad that we're having the opportunity to offer that to our students, so.
Good. Thank
Mr.
you.
Dyer, the certifications that you're talking about, the testing, and you talked about different places and sites, are they at set dates, or can students do this when they're ready? Is it like an AP exam where there's a week and a half and you gotta take it, or is it?
It's not. Typically, when I was talking to Bucks County across the street here, they had Windows, testing Windows. So they do a lot of other certifications, not just Microsoft, they do hospitality management, et cetera. So they'll say, okay, we're gonna be open for these 2 weeks, come register, they can take it anytime during that testing window. And because they're so close in proximity, they probably be willing to work with us. If I say, hey, I'm gonna send 20 kids, does a date work for you? And we can probably work something out with them directly. So I'm hoping that relationship with them also, we can sort of work with down the pricing.
Well, it's excellent, because one of the things we're talking about, one of the themes that we've been speaking about, and will come up later tonight, is just different ways to recognize kids for different skill sets that they have. And this is just another example of it when you talk about this type of thing. You think about the NOCTI tests at the Bucks County, the technical school, and the way to show that students are doing other things of interest that set them apart from graduates, so that employers look at it and say, oh, this is somebody who I know does know Excel or PowerPoint or whatever it is, so I'm gonna bring them in and they're not a beginner. So thank you for bringing it to us.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go forward. Maybe I should come take this. I will bring that.
I'll require all my.
Joe's ubiquitous.
Okay. The next item is the AP Research course.
Good evening, I'm Dr. Dormer, I'm the Secondary Science Supervisor, and really excited about speaking about the AP Capstone Program proposal this evening. In my previous district, we were almost a part of the pilot of the rollout of the AP Capstone Program, in which the AP Seminar course was offered in the initial offering the first year, followed by the AP Research course in the following year. These courses are designed to just allow students to conduct independent research, and they are required to follow it through from, the very beginning of conceptualizing an idea and identifying a problem, to researching and doing all the background, the literature review components, developing methodologies, right, planning an investigation, collecting data, analyzing the data, and then making recommendations or speaking to the implications, future directions, limitations, so on and so forth, drawing conclusions from their investigations and the processes. This is just authentic learning in its very best form. If you think about all the buzzwords in education these days, personalized learning, deep learning, three-dimensional learning, all those things, they are absolutely epitomized in these courses. Students will demonstrate, exceptional writing, ability to scrutinize, the literature, identify what's a good source, what's a not so great source. They will be asked to collaborate with experts in the field, take their investigations beyond the walls of the school, so to speak, and just really dive into doing deep, and like I said, authentic research. So the way that we have kind of conceptualized this coming to life here at Penridge, if we get College Board approval, which the application has been submitted, we're due to hear probably sometime in December. We have to provide a 300-word or fewer rationale as to how it would better prepare our students for post-secondary endeavors while also maintaining equitable access to AP programs of study. So any student who wants to explore an AP course should be able to take one in the minds of the College Board. So to that end, they make several recommendations for how the courses should be offered. And their most popular recommendation is that the AP seminar and ultimately research courses be what they call anchored to another course that is already being offered in the curriculum. And all that means is that it's concurrently taken. So in the same year of study or the same semester of study, they will take both the AP seminar course and this anchor course. Since all Penridge students are required to take 1 credit of English every year, we decided it would probably be best and most equitable to offer that as anchored to an ELA course, so an English and Language Arts, because all students will be required to take English anyway. Therefore, if they concurrently decide to take AP seminar, they've already have it covered in their schedule. As to the staffing recommendations, we would use existing staff who are particularly interested in the research component and or skilled at the research process in both the writing aspects and the investigative aspects, as well as those who would be willing to develop collaborative partnerships with experts in the field and really try to form a nice team of advocates for the students, along with helping them kind of reach out on their own to advocate and investigate their chosen area of interest and of research. So if you kind of look through, what I love about a lot of this is just that it's authentic and real teaching and learning. So the 5 big ideas of the AP Capstone program are called QUEST. Students are expected to question and explore, understand and analyze, evaluate multiple perspectives, synthesize ideas, and probably the coolest aspect, at least in my mind, is team, transform, and transmit. So they're partnering up, they're transforming their ideas, kind of figuring out what worked with my investigation, what didn't work, and then they're communicating their ideas. Which is a skill that a lot of workplaces in colleges and universities have just considered to be invaluable. If you read the feedback or the comments from the institutions of higher education, they are all overwhelmingly positive. College and university presidents, professors have all gone on to say that you cannot, trade these skills and the preparedness that these students demonstrate by having conducted actual research before entering their university. Right now in the state of Pennsylvania, only 44 high schools offer the AP Capstone series, so it's still relatively in its infancy. And in Bucks County, only Quakertown offers it at this time. So other maybe notable schools in the area, North Penn offers it, and then Conestoga High School, and of course I mentioned my former district, Strathaven High School in Wallingford-Swarthmore offers it as well. And Wesnick, yes, was another one of the notables, in the areas seeing, you know, schools that are doing some pretty cutting edge things and have good reputations, you know, for enabling success in their students. So in terms of costs, it would be a 2-year rollout plan. In the initial year, we'd only be permitted to offer the AP seminar course, because that is a prerequisite for the AP research. So in the AP seminar course, they lay the groundwork, they establish the essential research skills and, you know, collaborative efforts, and start identifying a problem of interest, you know, that they're going to investigate over the longer term. To that end, in order to launch this program, we would need professional development in the form of an AP Summer Institute for any teachers and staff members that we had earmarked, you know, to be involved with this program. So the hardest part at this point is predicting the potential enrollment. Really don't know how many students would have interest at this time, how many sections we could offer. So we have proposed to prepare and train 4 teachers. Maybe one in each subject area. We could reconsider that if we feel, you know, it would be a better kind of split into certain departments, plus an administrator, who I'd like to nominate myself to be the administrator to support this. I even asked Dr. Scheid if there was any chance whatsoever I could teach it, to which the answer was no, which I understand. Research is just a passion of mine. I think there's just something so real and enriching about it that, you know, you get to dive in and just find out awesome stuff. So I'm really excited about these opportunities for our students, should we, you know, get the approval from the College Board to go ahead with it. That's a week-long, really a 5-day intensive training. Last year, the closest venue for that and offering the AP seminar training was in Baltimore, Maryland at Goucher College. So there would be a cost associated with transportation and lodging, in addition to, you know, the fee itself for the professional development. Last year was $1,075 for the course. College Board vaguely stated on their site that, you know, essentially the cost is going to go up this year, but by how much they would not advertise. Right, so we've projected kind of a maximum cost, hopefully of about $1,200 per participant, plus lodging and transportation for that initial training. If we have teachers who are willing, we would also look to do an additional week of training for AP research, but more likely that would be in year 2, like over the summer in preparation for the next, you know, aspect of the course, where we would hope and keep our fingers crossed that every student who enrolled in the AP seminar course would want to continue and follow it through for AP research. College Board put a little carrot at the end of all that in developing what they call the AP Capstone Diploma. So any student who earns a 3 or higher for AP Seminar and AP Research and any 4 additional AP exams gets the AP Capstone Diploma. They get a 3 in Seminar and Research, but not on 4 other APs. They get the AP Seminar and Research certificate. So their efforts are still acknowledged for the research that they undertake, just maybe not quite in the same way. So we're, you know, looking to reward any of the students who undertake, you know, several APs and so forth in a way that would just kind of supplement, hey, if you do your own research too, now there's this extra recognition that colleges and universities are also paying attention to, and make you a little bit more marketable in terms of, you know, what you can put on your applications and your transcripts. Yes, ma'am.
So can you just explain again how you're saying that they're going to be anchored to a course? So right now they take whatever English they take in 10th grade.
Right.
Is it going to wipe that out, or is it
No.
just going to be an addition on
In
top of
addition.
it? So they can manage, it doesn't add a lot of extra work that they can't.
Not any more than any other AP course.
Okay, so, all right, so
Okay.
it just layers on top of it.
It's just layers on top, yes.
And then for the diploma that they would get, you would, if someone took it in 11th and 12th grade, took
Yes.
these in 11th and 12th grade, I guess by our graduation, you wouldn't have the results. Is there there's an AP exam for this?
There's an AP exam for the seminar component, and that's laid out in the proposal as well, the details. So there are different requirements for the 2 courses. Since the seminar courses, you know, developing the skills and kind of, you know, building the students up in preparation for embarking on their own research, they would take an AP exam basically evaluating the research process. What makes a good methodology, you know, how do you draw conclusions based on data, what kind of statistical analysis would you use for this particular type of study, so on and so forth. Whereas in AP research, the terminal assignment is a 4,000 to 5,000 word research paper and an oral defense. So they stand in front of a panel, it's videotaped, it's timed. So they have, you know, time constraints to work within. There are a predetermined set of questions that the instructor can choose. And the way that usually works is that any mentors or advisors that were involved in the process along the way also get to ask questions at the defense. So there's no exam for that one, it's, you know, kind of like a mini thesis.
Yeah. And then I just have a comment about, as far as for the college, I think this would be really valuable because we tell kids to go and talk to your professors and see whose research you can get in on. If they have this already,
Walking in the
they're gonna be very attractive to professors for being
Absolutely.
selected.
I will share with you that one of our biology teachers did a summer experience, and so she invited her professor to speak to her students and do like a mini investigation with them. And she used an acronym that, you know, she touts at Penn State, Lehigh Valley, where she is, and she's actually going to consult with the Department of, some national department all of next year. She'll be out of commission, but she called it CURE, Course-Related Undergraduate Research Experience. And she was telling that our freshmen, our 9th grade students who were, you know, taking biology and staying after school, the value and importance of doing undergraduate research.
Yeah, it is. And some schools will have it. My daughter got to do freshman research initiative, that's what they call it down where she is. But, you know, I can only imagine if they have.
And you can see also included in some of the details, if you're willing to read through this lengthy, I tried to be as comprehensive as possible, that some of the schools will give opportunities to incoming freshmen to be a part of research teams. Sometimes they're given direct entry into honors programs, you know, so on and so forth. The advantages are countless. And some are actually even going along with the other AP courses and offering credit for the research experience.
So just talking to the anchor is that it's just essentially one of the main teachers that will be here for the students.
It's just a concurrent offering. And like I said, there's 2 advantages to offering it with English, I think. Number 1, they have to take an English course, and number 2, we're going to be focusing on the literacy and the writing components as kind of a nice support to go along with the research skills and a lot of the non-cognitives that we're trying to cultivate.
I have a question. So I heard you say about the methodologies, they can choose their methodology,
Okay.
and they can choose amongst mixed and qualitative and quantitative?
Yes, ma'am.
Because considering the time constraints of qualitative research, that's, wow.
Like you said, it's, you know, it culminates in a 4,000 to 5,000 word essay or paper.
Okay, and then
Which
so when
in
you-
terms of a thesis,
Right.
small, but.
But then how do they analyze, like what type of software do they have access to do their analysis of their data?
A lot depends on their collaborators and the
Okay.
team, you know, that they're able to work with. You know, and the advising process is obviously going to be an important piece in all this, because we want to make sure that students can choose rewarding investigations, but also achievable, doable ones, realistic investigations within the time frame. So I mentored 2 students in my previous district, and one of whom I had to advise, you need to narrow this in a big way, in a really, really big way, and you need to consider confounding variables and all these things, and like, you know, and your own bias and things like that, but these are kind of the neat aha moments that happened along the way. So he ended up doing mixed methods, including a statistical component that was much easier and quicker to work with, and then a little bit of coding and a qualitative aspect, so. Yeah, the themes.
Okay, that's interesting.
I just wanted to say that I'm in favor of letting you teach the research course.
So we want to vote on that. This is really, really exciting.
We have some outstanding teachers here who would absolutely knock this out of the ballpark. And there's Mr. Slupicki would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I was excited to see.
So,
This is
you know,
great.
my passion for it is probably equally matched by others in our school who will just embrace this and, you know, with everything that
There's
it
a lot
is.
of enthusiasm.
There is.
About this.
I think there actually might be a fight in the science.
And I talked to Quakertown, because they're the locals who have done this for a couple of years, and said, what are the benefits? Like, has it worked for your students, or has it not? And their enrollment isn't what they hoped it would be, so it'll be interesting. Some of that, they think, is because the colleges are trying to figure out how to respond to this. Right? It doesn't fit a perfect course in college like a lot of the APs do. And so they're giving honors kids some advantages, they're giving them some research pieces, so there was some give back, but it's not always a course. But they said the two things they've loved is, research is one of those things that a high school that you're trying to find to give students large opportunities to do that, and embedded in a course, sometimes that's just difficult to give them a full experience. The other piece is that the research really is specialized according to the student, which means if there's a student who's excited about an area of biology, they can go crazy. But if they're excited about an area of economics, they can still do the same course, and both those students can be working because it is so self-paced. So to be able to allow some of those students to flourish in an area that we may not have that perfect course for them in, this is the type of course where it's, at least in Quakertown, they found that those students have flourished. So thank you for bringing this.
Very similar at Strathaven as well. You know, we had students who conducted, you know, gender studies, and those who went to one of the local colleges at Swarthmore College and worked in their lab with honeybees. So, it was really neat.
Did you ask Dr. Bolton, was the enrollment low? I'm thinking like when we just say this to people, maybe people won't understand necessarily what it is. So, you know, I don't know if that was part of Quakertown's struggles, but to me, it might take a little bit of explaining to get people to understand the real value, because there's a lot.
And the communication value will make a difference.
Yeah.
For sure.
If we get college board approval, we'll absolutely put together a PR statement and just get up on stage. Do a dance by
May hold you to that.
The resources that are out there are not official textbooks, but you know, there's a lot of writing manuals and things of that nature, so I included a few of those in tonight. There is a new edition of one of those coming out in March, because it's currently 2010, so they're due for a 5th edition on, you know, writing, I think, college papers as they call it. But the other one I think that we should at least have the classroom center access to is called the Craft of Research.